All right. One of your problems on the choice board that I haven't seen anyone do yet is under measurement for $5. It's that your class is going on a field trip to a museum, and you need to make a schedule with at least 5 things or events for your class to do, as well as eating lunch. And then once you come up with a schedule for your class, come up with 5 word problems around your schedule. So instead of a museum, I did a zoo as an example. The Cincinnati Zoo, I went on their website and I looked up some things. They're closed right now, but they still had things up that they would normally have been doing. So they said that in April 16th, which is when I'm going to plan mine for, they would have had live music at 3 p.m. They would have had a conservation lecture at 1 p.m. Breakfast with the hippos would have happened at 10 a.m. We obviously have to go see Breakfast with the Hippos. Zoo opens from 10 to 5. Then I looked at some exhibits they have with animals. They have Gorilla World, Giraffe Ridge, Manatee Springs, and you can see at the very bottom they have elephants. So they have way more animals than that, but those are just some that I picked that I would really want to go see. So if I was going to create a schedule for our class or for my family to go to the zoo, I would put, let's see, zoo trip schedule. All right, and then it looks like it opens at 10, so I would want to get there at 10 o'clock to see Breakfast with the Hippos. Maybe even get there a little earlier so we get early in line. So I would say maybe arrive 9:30, arrive at zoo. That gives you time to get in line, get your tickets, get ahead of everybody. All right, then 10 o'clock is Breakfast with Hippos. Hippos, all right. Then let's see, I'm gonna check that one off. I've done that one. We got in line. Then I'd probably want to go see, I don't know, I bet the manatees are close to the hippos because they're kind of the similar like aquatic animal. So I would say maybe after, I'm guessing it would be like an hour for Breakfast with the Hippos. I'm saying like 11 o'clock, give us some time. Maybe 10:30, I don't know. I'm gonna say 10:30 would be Manatee Springs. All right, give ourselves a little bit of time there. And then probably one more, let's see, maybe Gorilla World after that. So I'm gonna say 11 o'clock. Nah, I'm gonna say 11:30. I really like manatees. I could stay there a long time. So I'm gonna say 11:30 is the Gorilla World. And you all want to give yourself some time to go see other exhibits along the way, because if you're walking from Manatee Springs to Gorilla World, maybe you see Lemurland and you want to stop there as well. So give yourself some walking time. Gorilla World is done. Let's see. Then we probably want to eat lunch after that. So I'm going to say 12 o'clock. Let's see, 12 to 1 maybe would be lunchtime. Lunch and break. All right, and then the conservation lecture's at 1 o'clock, and I know that Sierra would want to go see the conservation lecture, so we'll put that down. 1 o'clock, conservation, T-I-O-N, lecture. All right, did that. And then we'll probably have time. I'm guessing the lecture probably will only be, what, half an hour, an hour? So we probably could fit in Giraffe Ridge and elephants before the live music. So I'm going to give ourselves 2 o'clock is Giraffe Ridge. And then we'll say 2:30 are the elephants. Elephants are cool. I would love to see the elephants. I was at a zoo in Seattle once where an elephant peeled a grapefruit. Elephants. Apparently it didn't like the peel. All right. And Let's see, then we have time for live music at 3. Can you guys see this all right? I'm going to move this over just a little. 3 o'clock is live music. And then maybe I'll leave a little bit of extra, like 4 o'clock is time for anything else, like extra. See anything else. And then 5 o'clock is we leave. All right, so we've created our schedule. If you can see that right here, let's go through it again. We've got 9:30 arrive at the zoo, 10 o'clock breakfast with hippos, 10:30 Manatee Springs, 11:30 Gorilla World, 12 to 1 o'clock is a lunch and a break, 1 o'clock conservation lecture, 2 o'clock Giraffe Ridge, 2:30 elephants, 3 o'clock live music, 4 o'clock see anything else, 5 o'clock leave. So I'm going to erase this side now. So we've got all of our topics done. Now we need to create some word problems using our schedule. So I'll move this over just a little bit. So let's see. So you could ask something like, how long will we be at the zoo in total? So that could be question number 1. How long will we be at the zoo? All right. So let's solve that. I know some of you like to do the method where you subtract time. However, that only works if you're working before noon or afternoon. You can't do that if you're going across that time frame. Because if I do 5 o'clock minus 9:30, I'm going to get a negative number, and we know it's not true. So instead, I'm going to do a timeline. So I'm going to start at 9:30 here. Can everybody see that all right? 9:30. All right. Then I think, okay, let's see. I need to get to my first whole hour. So that would be to 10 o'clock. That would be plus 30 minutes. Okay. And then, let's see, 10 o'clock to 12. That's an easy jump. 12. That would be plus 2 hours. All right. Or 60 minutes plus 60 minutes, 120 minutes. And then 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock could be our next jump. Make that a little bit bigger. And that would be 5 hours. So in total, we would be at the zoo, let's see, 2 hours plus 5 hours plus 30 minutes. Which would give us a total of 7 plus 30 minutes would be 30 minutes plus 7 hours. I'm just going to leave that and say 7 hours, 30 minutes, also known as 7 and 1/2 hours, because 30 is half of 60, so half of an hour, which is also known as 7.5 hours. All right. So that's one problem that you could do. Another problem, let's see, what's another question you could ask? How much time is it between the gorilla world and the elephants? So we could do that as well. I'm going to erase this. Number 2, how much time between the gorillas and the elephants? Let's see, so the gorilla world is at 11:30. A little bit bigger. You guys see that still? Okay. 11:30. And the elephants are at 2:30. So we're trying to get to that jump. And I'm noticing on this one, it looks like that we have 30s in our numbers here. So I'm not going to bother going to my whole number on this one. I could just go by half out, like by the hours. So I'm going to say 11:30 to 12:30 is 1 hour. And then 12:30 to 1:30 is an hour. And then 1:30 to 2:30 is an hour. Oh my goodness, what did I write? So in total, that would be 1, 2, 3 hours between the gorillas and the elephants. All right. I'm trying to think of any other kind of questions you could ask. I suppose you could also ask, like, how much time will you be spending with the animals? Because we'll also be doing some other things as well, like lunch. We have to take that out, the conservation lecture, the music. So another question you could ask is, how much time will be spent seeing animals? And I think you could probably do this two different ways. You could either just add up the time, a half hour here, a half hour here, or since we've already done the total length of time that will be there, the whole trip, and we knew that was 7.5. I'm going to put total time equals 7.5 hours. We could probably just subtract out the times that we will be not with animals. So let's see, we know that lunch is an hour, so that's 1. Lunch minus 1 hour, okay? And then the conservation lecture, we're giving ourselves an hour for that. So lecture minus 1 hour. And then the music at 3 o'clock, we won't be probably seeing animals there, so I'm going to put music minus 1 hour. And then it looks like when we're at the zoo for that half hour before we get in will probably be another time when we wouldn't be seeing animals. So I'm just going to put wait time would be minus 30 minutes. So in total, it looks like we would not be with animals for 3 hours and 30 minutes, or 3.5. Remember, half of 60 is 30, so 3 hours and 30 minutes would be 3.5. I'm going to put 3.5 hours here. So now we can just subtract our total time from the time that we're not with animals to see how much animal time we have. And that would be 7.5 minus 3.5. Remember when we were subtracting our mixed numbers before break? Take your whole numbers and subtract those, 7 minus 3, and then you can subtract your fractions, assuming that they are the same denominator, and your first fraction is bigger than your second fraction. And that's the case here. I have a half minus a half. So 7 minus 3 is 4, and a half minus a half is 0, so really we're just left with 4 plus 0, or 4 total animal hours. All right, so I look forward to seeing your museum, zoo, trip visits that you create today. Have fun with it. It would be a fun, this was a fun one for me to put together.